8, 7.
Oh, 7 star citizens, and welcome back to Answer the Call, your weekly podcast and call-in show hosted by myself and SaltEMike, talking everything Star Citizen. And this week, we're talking why you don't have any money in your bank account. Mike's dabbing for some reason. How we doing, Mike?
I'm good. I'm tired. But I'm tired because this was like a lot this week. A lot happened.
Yep.
Like a lot happened. Big ship changes. Like ship naming changes, component changes, weapon sounds like crazy. I saw all those today. Polaris mission's kind of working. It's starting to come together. We had an actual ISC that was an actual ISC.
Yes. Proper ISC.
Yeah, so we're just going to kind of hopefully quickly touch on a lot of that stuff and not go too much into it. So I will probably be pretty quiet today because I'm usually the one who makes this podcast go way too long because I talk too much. But yeah, so much stuff has happened. And and then we'll get to some callers and see what they think about some things. So for me, I just said Invictus updates. So updates for the Invictus patch, but it's not just Invictus. There's just a lot of stuff that went on. How was your week?
It's all within the scope of Invictus.
Yeah. Sure.
My week has been lovely. We had the finals of our Magic League yesterday, and I won the whole thing.
Hey,
let's go!
Nice.
I'm good at a game. It took me long enough, and then it's I don't know. It's just been a good week. I've been playing a lot of Expedition 33. God damn, it's been fun.
My brother-in-law
just
loves it.
Such a perfect Final Fantasy game. Even though it's a Final Fantasy, it's just a perfect Final Fantasy game. So that's been really good. Been really enjoying that. Yeah.
And obviously there's a Star Citizen Live that happened and was only for the Chinese Star Citizen for now. And then we'll see it later. So we'll touch on that because
which I believe they did last year as well. It was the same thing.
It was a Q&A session with Chris and Sandy last year. So
right.
I think that is, you want to just start with that? Let's just get that out of the way because kind of the drama thing out of the way for me is I would not care about this whatsoever if we didn't have such a drought for video content. Like they did a Q&A with John Crew as well. And I think that that's totally fine. Torsten, Jared, and somebody else is going to Germany for Con 42. They're going to do a Q&A over there. I think that's totally fine. Kind of, because like there's a lot of stuff that guys like Torsten are still involved with working on crafting those kind of things. And like no SEL, no ISCs, like nothing about them this whole year. And then they'll go to a convention and talk, but they can't talk on the video content, like from the office they work in. So it's like, what are we missing here? So those all being Q&As and just being like random fan questions, and they'll answer it if they can, they won't if they can't. Makes it like way more fine to me than, hey, we haven't had any like good SELs, and then the best one out of the entire year is on a phone that I have to watch from China, you know? And it's just like the guy was literally falling asleep and the phone was falling down and stuff. Like it was hilarious. It was hilarious. But I think it's just like the timing of it is so disconnected to reality. Like there's been threads, there's been things about like, hey man, like step the video content up. We miss it. And they just like didn't do that. So this is like how we had to watch this. And
so I'll talk a little bit
about that stuff, which is totally fine. Like that's all fine. Like this wouldn't be a big deal to me if the timing of it was like last year, and it was like, oh, we get SLs all the time, we get ISCs all the time, and like we haven't had a good one all year. Like what? And then this one was really good.
I think it's fine-ish. Even in the current like time, mostly here because of how large this Bar Citizen is. We're not getting a live Citizen Con this year. We're only getting the online one, right? So there's all of these events. This event, Con 42, the one in Vegas, I imagine as well. They'll do something for.
Yeah, but they won't do this.
I am totally okay with there being. They won't do this SEL, but they'll do, I imagine, like another Q&A because I know there's a bunch of devs heading over there.
Yeah, which is again, that is way less of a problem than like I'm being like very. Nitpicky isn't the right word, I don't think. It's just like, dude, we haven't had a good SEL, and you did an SEL that's coming out later that we're all gonna have. It's just odd. So it was just a really weird choice, and it feels disconnected to me. But yeah,
I think it's okay, even with regards to that, because it does make the event itself a bit more special. However, my caveat is like it needs to then be released within like a week, so that we don't have to watch it through a phone, because that's going to happen anyway. Right, and apparently it's not coming till after Invictus.
Yeah, or during Invictus or something, and it's like, so that could be within the week. But
yeah,
I think it should have been out within an hour of this thing. Like, I get it. The Chinese bar citizen community, really big, putting on big events, spending a lot of money, whatever. But like, what about the other $800 million that was spent before this event? And like, do those people not fucking matter? So it's like, that's the one that I'm just like, all right, man. Like, I get very mad when things aren't fair. And like, tends to be why I'm like, all right, this guy who swipes his credit card has this thing. That's not necessarily fair. It would be much more fair if we all started at the same time. And then the amount of effort that you put into something, you get out the reward for what you put in, right? And then that's not necessarily, this kind of falls in line with that a little bit. Is like, I get it, they're a new community. I get it, it's a new player base that they want to extract money from, or whatever reasons that they want. They really go hard here versus anywhere else, because we're old money. We've already spent. These new people want to. I get it, but it just. But
it's also the biggest gathering like outside of SitCon. Like I think this is.
Don't care.
I don't think this is an issue. I think this is a non-issue.
Dude, there's not 100,000 people there, and that's how many people watch an ISC every week. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter how many people are there. There's no way it's the amount of people that watch the video content week in and week out, right? So it is still being released. This is why I think it's a non-issue. If it was never released, yeah. And also, once again, I still think it still needs to be released within a week. Yeah, it needs to be
that's why I'm like with that. Yeah, I don't think it's that much of an issue necessarily. What I am more concerned by, to move on a little bit with this, is similar to last year. It's similar to last year when they did talk to Beijing. This is the event where they just say a lot of stuff that like is probably not going to happen. Yeah. This is like more pie in the sky than SitCon ever is. It's really weird.
Pretty grounded from that because it wasn't Chris and it wasn't Sandy. So this was much more grounded than the last one. I mean, that one was insane. I think I have like a suite of 15 emotes that came out of that event of just like, this was insane. They talked about consoles and like they just went on a level that it was just like, what is happening here? And that was years before we even saw a date for Squadron 42, right? So it's just it was a weird one, but I think that they covered mostly things that we knew already or are expected. I mean, news that came out of there that off the top of my head wasn't like nothing sticking out to me right now that's like super crazy. You have a list or something?
So I've got a list. Shout out to I'm Elfo for sending me this. This is specifically a list of stuff that was only talked about during the video. And I mentioned before the podcast, the reason why I only care about that stuff, I don't necessarily care about, random Bob talked to John Crew and John Crew said this, is because it's not primary source. It's not like validated type thing. So this is only stuff from the video. So starting off with ground vehicles and gameplay, once again, sort of stuff that we expected, but combat hovercrafts are coming.
Cool. But they're like, but we want to make ground vehicles important first before we even think about making those in the first place, right? Yeah.
Yeah, which good. We had the System 7 today, and it was very, very obvious during the first race that we did today that it's just it just doesn't get any love at all.
Yeah,
just not remotely. And it sucks. So awesome. Glad that they at least have it in their mind. I would like it to be more of a priority, but at least it's there. They talk about ship interiors. I am very mad, Mike. Poop Citizen is coming.
Oh yeah,
I really
and
didn't want it to.
sleeping and like it's that's odd to me.
Yeah, I have been regretting the idea of Poop Citizen like the entire time. That anytime anyone like mentions what is it, the toilet in the it's one of the Cutlass variants. I think it might be the blue. Can't remember. One of them has a toilet instead of a turret, and I just hate it so much. It's so stupid. It doesn't need to exist in the game. I don't want to have to poop in the middle of combat.
No.
Ah! So please don't.
I know people like Scum, that game that has pooping in it, but like
it's just not necessary.
It's not necessary, at all.
Yeah.
Like we don't have skill. Like I don't get it.
Yeah.
But yeah. What else you got on your list? I also have the list from the Q&A from John Crew, but there's only a couple things to stick out. I'll mention those, but
yeah. Weapons and ammo. So bolt weapons are coming from Squadron. Makes sense. Like there's going to be a lot of like mechanics in Squadron eventually that come over. A lot of like small weapons, I imagine.
You said bolt.
Yeah, that was going to be the next one.
Oh, okay.
Beam weapons. So, a bolt weapon would be like I imagine they reference other like crossbow bolts. Is what they're referencing there. But
okay.
Either way, different variations of weapons. But then yeah, beam weapons for big ships. Hell yeah. I love the like I shoot where I am looking and it hits immediately is a lot of good fun. But obviously it's going to require a lot of balancing and whatnot.
Yeah.
So sweet. And then they talked about like reloading, but they've talked about that a bunch. Like a lot of the stuff here is like stuff they've talked about in the last 15 years, right?
Yeah.
They want drop ships to be usable.
Yeah, so upping their health is a thing.
Yep. They want to incentivize that. They apparently already help with G-forces, but they want to expand upon those features. I did love it. Apparently, they said dropships underused due to lack of durability and incentives. I will add, it's also probably because they're way more expensive than they need to be right now. Well, than they ever need to be, because the seat tax is real and just unnecessary.
Yeah, they're super pricey and are bad. So it was just like, no.
Yeah, yeah. Look, I love my Valkyrie, and I love how many seats it has. It doesn't need to be more expensive just because someone can sit down. It's not gameplay that I am like excited for is for people sitting down.
Yeah.
They talked about the ship modules being ownable in game, which of course, once again, that's a thing that should be expected, not like news. And then apparently they said legal and marketing constraints affect when and how pledge items go live. Marketing constraints, I believe. I believe marketing constraints would stop some pledge items from going live at certain times.
Well, I think like when I actually watched it, he explained it a little bit better than was written here. It was marketing constraints meant we originally sold this thing to do this, but then because we gave you the loaner, that people were expecting that the ship that they had previously would have done. So like this was all around the Retaliator. It was based off of like what loaners they got and what players were expecting. And then when they swapped back to the actual pledge that they have that didn't have these modular systems or was only a certain thing that they weren't necessarily expecting because they had been using the loaner version the entire time, which was like better than what they had pledged for. It got awkward and weird. So I think that's what he meant by that, and not necessarily like marketing is more important and got in the way. It was just like we had marketed these things initially this way and it doesn't really work. So like, yes, sometimes I defend you, marketing team at Star Citizen, but I still don't fucking like you. Okay. So there you go. But when you deserve defense, you deserve defense. It's not your fault on that one.
Yeah, fair enough. They talk about Maelstrom a little bit. Apparently, So the wording on this summary is the Maelstrom system from Squadron is 70% complete and will come to the PU. Now that is a weird phrase. Does that mean that it's 70% complete within Squadron, or it's done within Squadron, and then the move over to Star Citizen is 70% complete? Because those are two very different things. If it's the first one, Squadron 42 is not coming out for 10 years. If it's the second one, I imagine we'll see it in an incomplete state in Star Citizen soonish, maybe.
I can't remember, but I think it was mostly done in the in Squadron, and then it'll take a while in the PU. But I can't remember on what he said on that. But yeah, that's when I'm really, to use an Australian phrase, keen on seeing if, because I've only learned that word through you, is keen on seeing how it comes into the game, because what we had seen at CitizenCon was very destructive, many little pieces, two Gladiuses flying into each other, and then like the player's not surviving that, the ship's not surviving that, so it doesn't really fall in line with everything we've learned after that of like soft death is going away, but we want you to be able to repair your ships and recover them and things like that. So I'm curious what they end up doing with like how ships will break up, because they certainly will not break up like we saw them in the demo, right?
Yeah, no.
So
so that's an interesting one, because that's a mechanic that we've been looking at for like a while, that we've been watching be developed. They talked about ship weight and performance. They've talked about that a lot recently, to be fair. So it must be on their minds heavily.
That was said.
Big one was in regards to capital ships. So we talked, I think it was now 2 weeks ago. Actually, I don't remember when it was, but we had a caller come in and we were talking a lot about the Polaris and the rebalance to the Polaris. And you know, it becoming slower and stuff. So yeah, they want capital ships to feel slower and heavier. Cool, awesome, as they should feel. But more importantly, there's going to be a new, I think it was in the Q&A, there's going to be a new capital ship larger than the Javelin, planned by Aegis, RSI, or Anvil. This makes sense.
It's whale bait, bro. It's just fucking whale bait.
But it is, yeah, exactly. Like. Once again, last year when they showed us, you know, us building a Bengal, the jump from a Javelin to a Bengal is pretty aggressive, right? If there's nothing in between, that feels a little weird. So you would expect to see some stuff in there. My hope would be, of course, that it's a ship that, like, doesn't immediately go to the pledge store, but it probably will.
Of course it will. If they spend that much time on it, they're going to sell it for a lot of money. But that's crazy. I mean, how many years is it going to take to make that one? You know?
Yep.
It's just like you
especially because apparently,
yet.
Yeah, apparently not part of Squadron either. So like, it'd be a completely new, capital. And it's not like we know that there's like alien capitals that have been worked on, but like probably not flyable. But it's none of those either, right? Specifically human one. So that's that.
Whale bait, everybody.
Yep. And that's mostly everything from the video.
Did he say when everything it was going to come out? Did he say it was going to come out before 1.0?
I don't know.
Of course not.
Not in the notes here.
Yeah, of course not. So I'll just bring them up on the screen. There's just a few small things. This was on Spectrum, and John apparently had to like say, hey, the translations weren't exactly great here, and so like he touched on a few of other things. Big thing with this we could just talk about the scanning thing that came in on Tuesday. All ships that are not nameable will be just shown up as a serial number from now on. And you have to scan them in order to see their name. Of the name of the player flying them. I don't particularly care. I do not have a super bad issue with this.
You don't mean the name of the ship?
No, because there is no name of the ship for most of them, because they're not nameable. So it'll come up as the player flying it. I don't recall what will happen if a ship is named and then you scan it. I tested it with like one of my guys like in org leadership, Mealy, yesterday, but I can't remember what happened when I scanned, because we ran into some issues with his ship in particular, but he named his ship and you could see the name and not the the
Yeah.
the numbers or whatever. So, but the issue with that is scanning's pretty scuffed, and the scale in which you get to see their name is you have to get like 80 to 90% signature on them to see their name. So that's kind of the problem there, is you got to get really close. And if you get really close, like, this is not going to work in a PvP fight. And then in a PvP fight that's kind of large, you're going to be cluttered with a bunch of letters and numbers, and nobody's going to be able to make call outs. It's going to be really uncomfortable and really weird. So I think that's what people have issues with, is we're adding more clutter, we're making it more complicated, and they don't necessarily like the change. Personally, now that we know all ships in the near future will be nameable, hopefully they force a name on them, and then, because if not, every PvPer will not name their ships because it'll just give them an advantage, right? So hopefully you force a name, and then that name comes up, and then you're able to recognize like a ship after a while. Like, okay, I go against that ship a lot, and yeah. But every time you claim a ship, the number and letter changes. So when you,
it'd be cool if
it's a new ship.
Yeah, it'd be cool just on that if, like, when you try to take a ship out of a like a UEE controlled location, it's like, actually, you haven't registered your ship. It needs a name before you can leave UEE space or whatever.
Yeah, I think that would be like fine. And again, for me, I like sci-fi, and every communication in sci-fi and in real life between ships is you call the name of the ship. You don't call the captain, because the captain might be different at any given time, right?
Yeah.
All that stuff. So it's the name of the ship. Doors are going to be designed to be harder to breach, which I don't care either way. I think they're quite difficult to breach sometimes now. Torpedoes will have a minimum range to prevent their use at close range. I hope they do the same thing for bombs. I think we've all had our issues with A2s and things like that. Turrets will have additional buffs to hit smaller ships, because they're buffing turrets this patch, so I think we could touch on that as well. Turrets and capacitors are way higher on big ships now, as well as the capacitors for the main guns that the pilots use on those big ships are way higher, and that doesn't solve the issue with turrets. We talked about the issue with turrets on the podcast before. This sounds like they know what the issues with turrets are, and they are going to address them eventually. But they did the capacitors first. Cool. Javelin stuff, honestly, I'm just skipping over that.
It's just not going to be relevant for a while.
Exactly. We don't have the Idris. Who cares? Flak is coming. AoE projectiles specifically used on capital ships against smaller vehicles. So excited for that. I think a lot of people have been waiting for Flak for a long time. Another big one, a big discussion from last week. After avionics blades, which we all called, was like, hey, there's no way these are AI blades from what we had seen. The next one is going to be AI blades. Great. I have nothing against AI blades necessarily, as long as they're done well. But they're next.
What I would hope in this situation is when they say after avionics blades, like fill them out as well. Like do them proper. Don't have it like, all right, we're 50% done with avionics blades. There'll be more stuff coming later. Now we'll do AI blades. Like, do the avionics blades.
How long have you been here for? You know?
Yeah, true.
Just give up on that fucking idea, because that's definitely not happening. Future crimes will this is stupid. There'll be javelin level responses. Like, again, this is just whale bait stuff. Like, we had Idris level responses before. It did nothing, and it was stupid, so it didn't matter. This is something that I struggle with a little bit. Eventually, there will be ways to earn the A tier components through PvE. Fine, no issue with that whatsoever. But we still need to separate, like, you get stuff over here by doing these things. You get other stuff over here by doing these other things. Like, this is how video games work. And if we're gonna do the thing where, like, kumbaya, everybody can get everything in the way that they want to get it. Again, like, we're going away from a player-driven economy more and more and more, because when you do this, like, you go away from the Croncy likes to do mining and I like to do salvage, but we both want industrial components, but this specific one that we really like can only be gotten in pyro CZs. But we really don't like PvPing. But then what happens in a player-driven economy is the people who really do like it, what do? They sell you that component because they have a bunch of them because that's their farm and they have no use for it. Or they already have a few of them or whatever. And then like that's how that stuff works. And they're just sounds like they are going away from that completely. I don't find that this to be fun whatsoever. I'm not trying to gate people out of getting stuff, but I think the games are more fun when you do what you like to do and you're able to get everything that you want, but by interacting with other players because it's an MMO.
So this like sentence specifically, I am once again okay with the exception of you then need to tier it based on risk and reward, right? So PvP usually is one of the riskier things that you can do. Not right now because you don't really lose anything, but in general, it should be one of the riskier things you can do, meaning these components should be easier to get through PvP. I am then 100% okay if Billy, who only likes to mine, is able to get it through mining. Who, guess what? I'm Billy.
You wouldn't want to buy it on a market? I'm not trying to change your mind here.
To be clear, okay. I would. But I also think it should be fine for me to try to get it through like my regular stuff.
Yeah.
All that being said,
because Billy could just click a button and get what he needs by mining. Then, right.
Yeah. Exactly. And all of that being said, the incentives of a dev team that is making an MMO should be to incentivize people to work together. And in the example you used, that's the case, right? Yeah. Is we're going to work together. You're going to go get the PvP thing. I'm going to pay you for that. And now we've formed a relationship. Now I've formed a friend in the video game who I can keep coming back to, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So that's what I'd like it to be.
Look at Wicklow.
I also wouldn't hate.
Look at Wicklow and Script now. It's like Script is coming out of the wazoo everywhere now, and that's how you get favors. So it's like, why would I go to Hathor? Like, are they not recognizing how it's like like you just worked long and hard on something for a couple months there at least, and you just murdered it instantly by making this decision here. So
so one way that this could still be fine as well, that uses mechanics that they've just started bringing in, is like, yeah, cool. You do a PvE mission, you could get the rewards, but it's like not even remotely consistent, right?
Yeah.
So ace pilots that already are rare to appear have then a 5% chance to drop a tier A component, right? So you could, if you grind through all those missions, you could maybe get it. Would it be easier for you, much easier for you to go PvP and do it? Yes. Would it be much easier for you to pay for it and do it? Yes. But you wouldn't be doing those missions just for that. It would be a nice surprise bonus prize, right?
We talked about this.
That'd be good.
This is contradictory to what I'm saying a little bit, but not entirely. Is like, remember when we were talking about Hathor being like, all right, this is like a PvP death zone. Like, there's most of the community is not able to participate in this stuff. Wouldn't it be nice if I was out rock mining and like occasionally a piece of Karenite dropped? Like, I think we're all sort of okay with that, and that goes very much in line with what you're saying. Is like, I can get it, but it's going to take me way longer, or I could do what I'm normally doing,
and it's not consistent. Like, it can't be your goal, right? It's just a cool extra thing that happens that if you're playing, it's super fun and you're excited.
Yeah, exactly. But the fastest way to do it would be to just go to the player market and interact with players, because you have been playing the game, earning money and doing things. So the easiest thing to do is make a player market, not physically, like, coding wise. I don't know how easy that is. If it was, they probably would have already done it, right? But that's the thing, is like, then everybody can do what they like to do. And the depth that the gameplay has in Star Citizen in terms of like the actions that you're doing, how long everything takes, you kind of have to make it that way for this to be good. If you're going like, all right, bro, you got to salvage, you got to mine, you got to go here, you got to do this if you want to get all these things. Nobody's going to do that. So I don't know.
Yeah. So like I said, I am okay with them being in like a random pool, or just being very, very hard to get in PvE. I don't think that negatively, like your problem that you had, I don't think doing what I said causes that problem. But yeah, like you said, I would still love to see more so the ability for people to actually, do these specific things that I am then forced to interact with players to get.
Correct. Pioneer were not released this year. That's not a surprise, but that just quells
Told
that.
yous.
Yeah, that just takes that out of the equation now, which is nice. Elevator speeds will increase at some point. The Polaris control panel.
I think they've been all over the place in like previous years, right? Sometimes they have been incredibly fast.
Yeah, they've been like omega fast at times. This Polaris control panel thing is for the torpedoes, I think, so you can like watch from the bridge, I'm guessing, in the future, because that'll be more fun. Consolidated Outland medium ship is getting made. More larger Javelin battleship that you had talked about. Updated Idris model will not come until Squadron 42 is released. Nautilus is not something that they're working on right now. And yeah, it's just a bunch of other whale bait stuff. So, okay. None of it else, none of the other stuff is of any relevance whatsoever, in my opinion, at least. So that's that. I mean, that's the Chinese bar citizen thing. I said my piece on it.
Yeah, big info dump.
Yep, biggest of the
year. Regardless of whether what is true, big info dump. Yeah, largest we've had pretty much.
Yep.
And possibly will have, depending on what they talk about at SitCon.
Yep, for the entire year, this is probably the biggest dump that we'll have until CitizenCon. Like, not a joke, and that's the kind of issue that I have with it. What do you want to touch on next? We got a bunch of crap. Basically.
Let's move to some more text-based stuff. Real quick roadmap, because it won't take us very long to get through. We had our roadmap roundup this week. Obviously, all the stuff from 4.11 got added onto committed. Everything that got released already that like wasn't talked about that they always do in roadmaps that all got put on. In addition, there's some extra ships. I don't know if they put in the roadmap, but there are extra ships in the Wikello. Oh, there we go.
No, that's the old one.
No, those are the old ones.
I'm going up. It is...
There are extra ships. It's in the top. It's in the top. Yeah.
They say who they are, which ships they are. Which is
Silencer Max, Firebird, Peregrine, Zeus ES, Zeus EL, Intrepid. Or top grade components. Cool. Sweet. I'm glad that there's more of that.
Awesome.
It means there's more replayability.
100%. And I'm playing on on like an alt in the next patch. I'm not going to play on my main account. All of those ships are like kind of on the list for things that I would want. So I'm probably going to participate in that pretty quickly because it sounds like I hate Wicklow with a passion for this. That it's a loot box. Like, so are the CZs, but if it's a ship that you don't like, you just leave, and it's not on your list. Like, the reason I'm going for an alt is I want only the ships I'm using. That's it. And I don't want that list to be filled up. And this is going to be like, all right, well, I definitely don't want the Crusader Intrepid. But if that's what I get,
it'd be lovely if there was a way for us to sell those ships that we get from Wikello, or even like, hey, Wikello, let me reroll. Let me turn in the Intrepid that you gave me, plus like some extra favors, and go for a reroll.
Yeah, like
right.
So. Yeah, exactly. It's like I don't want this one. And it's just like then you can farm favor and get the one that you want, and then be happy. I would like that. Yeah, and then the only other thing was at the very very bottom for me.
Yeah,
same for you.
Just ton of redacted added to the progress tracker. Sandbox activity, sandbox location, cool. Last time we got sandbox activity and sandbox location, it was the I've already forgotten the names. The mining lasers, the big OLPs and stuff.
Big stuff.
More of that stuff. Radiation gameplay on the progress tracker. Unsurprising, I guess, because it was going to come eventually. Yeah, and it was supposed to be with original, like OG Pyro release, right? So I imagine it just means they're working back towards that.
Solar flare? Question mark. That's the only thing that I'm like, ooh, maybe.
Yeah. And then surprise, they're working on another vehicle.
And another creature.
Another creature, very dope. I imagine because it's a redacted creature, that means it's not just like the larger Valakar. So we'll get another something there soon too. But progress tracker, remember, is like extremely vague. A lot of the times it's not even like this is when we'll be finished with it. It's just we're doing some work on it and we'll come back to it later. Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to say, but that was the
Yeah.
roadmap. So no surprise, the roadmaps have been a little quieter this year. But that was a big one.
Yeah.
Like there was like a lot of stuff on there, but
Yeah, that one felt more like a housekeeping roadmap where it's like, look, the patch is coming out like next week, so we need to tell you
Yeah.
guys what features we've decided to keep in there,
Yeah.
as well as like all the stuff they had missed from the last one. So
Sure. Monthly report
and then
next?
monthly report. Yeah, we had a back-to-back roadmap monthly report, which is a lot of information a lot of the time. I had to go through this really, really quickly today. So the main things that I looked at are ships, as always, because it's look, we're all degenerates. Work made on 4 unannounced vehicles, plus the TAC, the Pioneer through pre-production and white box. Bunch of paints, 2 new variants coming, an all new ship as well with cargo capacity and tractor beam placement, which is interesting.
So cargo ship. A lot of people are going. Well, a lot of people are going. Ironclad.
Usually no. So when they talk, well, first off, it says all new ship. The Ironclad is not an all new ship, based on the language that they use in monthly reports.
Okay.
When they say all new ship, or they say like when they don't say the name of the ship, it usually means it is not a ship that has already been sold as a concept, traditionally. So yeah, I doubt that that's the thingy.
Whatever it is, get the cargo grid right.
Yeah.
If you've listened to any complaining I've made over my entire career here, that would be the one to just please listen. Everything else you can ignore. Just get the cargo grids right. It's so stupid the way they've done it. So I hope that's the one I'm hoping for, but we'll see.
Also, the 4th vehicle, the first in a while from an existing manufacturer, has been formally kicked off. So pretty much only just started.
We know it now.
Do we?
Consolidated Outland medium ship.
I don't think it is CNOU.
Think about it. We haven't had one for a while. It just got kicked off.
Well, the last one we had would have been the Nomad.
That's a long fucking time ago, man.
There are manufacturers with less ships in that, like with no ships in that time that are further.
Chat,
alien manufacturers.
With the leaks, you're so annoying. Twitch chat is just all spamming the same manufacturer, which means it was leaked, which means they all know and they're all just saying it.
The ones from my chat, at the very least, that's because we speculated that it was going to be Kruger because we were talking about it before the pod. It's just there hasn't been a ship released by Kruger. I don't know if that's a leak, but I'm hoping not. But we were saying Kruger or alien ship. We are about to have Alien Week, right after Invictus. We have not had any Banu ships since the Defender, right? In addition, I think the last time we had an Asperia ship, the Talons, I think. So that's where I'm at. I'm actually leaning further towards Alien at the moment. But yeah,
I'm going that we might have a bet in our life.
We might.
I might be.
The other problem is we'll never know if it's this one. We'll never know if it's this one. They'll do both. It'll just be like, wait, we don't know who was right.
then we have to create each other's characters.
Oh, I love it. Hell yeah. So that was for ships. They talked about they're working on stuff that they're already working on. In core gameplay, a lot of stuff about 4.11. They do talk a little bit about ship death and things they want to change there. They talk a lot about the new space flight mode for flight experience.
They want to remove soft death, and they're working towards that. That's not something to brush over too quickly. So just make sure that soft death's going away, guys, and it sounds like it's going away soon. And then what you're talking about next is also sort of was teased at. Remember when like John Crew and whatever was sitting with Jared that one time? Like talking about the flight model changes. It sounds like it's been enactioned. So,
and in addition, and probably like a bit of part of that is also them actually talking about control surfaces, which I think is the first time we've had confirmation of them talking about control surfaces in like a monthly report since the like SitCon 2 years ago. They've done like a couple of like random talks about it in Spectrum. and that's
Yogi
like
on Discords, like nothing
exactly.
official,
So,
really.
Yeah, but this more or less means that they probably want to test it soon. Talking more about quantum tech, like it's a lot. Once again, no like big new information in here. A lot of it's like we're fixing bugs. We're still working on gameplay that's already been working. The one that I saw that concerned me. All right. There are several more ongoing initiatives across the core gameplay teams that are either for the next few releases, longer term, or for Squadron 42. Sure. However, much of the work done for Squadron will also be relevant to Star Citizen. These teams will work across both projects. Yeah, this game's not coming out for 10 years. Squadron's not coming out for 10 years.
No, I think what it's telling you is, so the core gameplay section is not for Star Citizen right now. Like, the reason you're not seeing anything happen is because all the core gameplay teams are actually focused on Squadron 42 still. All their engineers are fixing bugs for there, cleaning things up, doing whatever, maybe still doing features, because I still don't believe the whole feature complete thing. And I think that's how I read it, is like, by the way, guys, Squadron's the priority. And and like, you have to accept that. And I think we all should just accept it, is because we're at the point where they got to get it done, and then hopefully, you know, our game that we want to actually play for 10 years instead of, you know, here and there, because it's a single player game. It's just how it is. You know, to get that out the door and then focus on what's actually important for the long term is. But it sounds like in the short term, they're just letting you know, hey, everything you're reading here is not necessarily being worked on for Star Citizen at the moment. And they do touch on that a bit later. I don't know if you caught it. Did you catch it?
Where specifically do you mention?
This is about quantum tech. Further work will focus on improving the current experience and making it compatible with multiplayer. So it literally is telling you that all of this work above and below is probably focused on a single player experience if it is new, and will be in Squadron, right? So the flight model, which we thought was, I'm pretty sure there was communication that this was going to be the flight model for Squadron. We like it, we're going with it, and we're done. And then we'll work on the future flight model for you guys from this point forward, was kind of the vibes that I got. That's clearly not happening. They're overhauling the flight model for both games again. So it's this is one that I'm struggling with to deal with, because it's just like, we're never just gonna make a decision, are we? We're never just gonna stick with anything and just make it, and it's tough. Okay. Phil in chat says, not correct, but you guys are fine to speculate. We are, as stated, working on fixing a lot of underlying systems and bugs. Sure, a good part of the team is working on Squadron 42. That's what I'm saying. A good part of the team is working on Squadron 42. I guess I'm exaggerating by saying, like, nobody is working on Star Citizen, but that's what I mean by that. This is Phil, producer of the PU, guys, just to put the clarity out there.
I'll say just then, it does not read that way in the monthly report, I guess, is how it comes across.
It's all good, though. And then let me finish what he said so we're fair to him. But there is, as previously mentioned, a lot of time invested in just fixing the game and supporting the releases. 100%. So, like, feature-wise, I think we've all been set up to understand, like, it's not happening right now. So when you see features in this, I expect them to be largely focused on Squadron. And then when you see the, like, get it working for multiplayer, it just, to me, that reads as you didn't even develop it in a multiplayer environment yet, and now you're going to make it work for that, which is all the problems that we've had before. So I'm struggling with that one, but Phil, thank you as always for clarifying on a Sunday, and not something you need to do, and I appreciate you doing it.
Yeah, go to sleep. Let us spread information misinformation instead. It's way more fun. So that was mainly it for me, for core gameplay at least. They did mention, like, some of the stuff that's cool that we already know about. Like, we now can get our ore bags back and whatnot, which was an awesome change. And then economy. We talked a little bit about this just before the pod. So the economy team, as always, working on current patches, new items that are coming, all that sort of stuff. But the big one here is the team began looking into making the economy more dynamic, testing various things. We are studying different economic models from history and fiction to get a better impression of how the economy will feel when it is fully fledged. So this is like, it could mean a bunch of things. Which is why I'm kind of glad we talked about it a bit before the pod.
Yeah, because it just depends on to what level they're trying to tweak. Because if it's like, hey, you know, we know exactly how we want it to feel for the most part, but it's like, do we want to adjust it a tiny bit here to be more like this, or a tiny bit there to be more like that? Like to be fair to them, which I try to be, but they've never been fair to me, unfortunately. Anytime they've mentioned me, it's been unfair statements. But it's a scary thing for people to read.
Yeah.
Because it looks like you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
I don't think they don't. I think they know what they're doing, though.
You know, I think they know what they're doing, too. I think reading this again, I think what it's more saying is, like, we have a plan for the economy. Obviously, because the game is so in depth, at least in terms of, like, where you can get money and how you can get money and all that sort of stuff. I think it's that they're trying to figure out, like, with the systems we have planned, what will it look like historically, I guess, and then make those changes now, right? So, yeah.
I don't know. And it's like, and fiction. So it's like, are you looking at Eve? Or are you just looking at books? Or are you looking at, like, what... It's interesting, and I don't expect them to be like, we're looking at Eve, you know, and, you know, like, obviously not, but they're
actually looking at the RuneScape's Grand Exchange, and they're like, oh, let's go. This popped off.
Like, I don't know. I'm just looking at the idea of once item recovery was talked about, to not harp on this, it was like, oh, well, very clearly, like, dynamic economy on the NPC side will definitely still be the forefront, and the player-driven side that they had been pushing for the last year will not be. And then, so now, if you're going dynamic and you're going NPC side, you do have to look at history. You do have to look at fiction. You do have to make it feel a certain way. I hate that, because we are the ones who could just make it feel a certain way, and you tweak some levers and boom, right? Like, if something goes out of balance, you tweak one lever and it's, you know, it might screw something else up, obviously, but you know, I play Eve every day now. That is like, they have problems with their economy left and right. And they are going about it in a way that is like, we are not going to make any drastic changes because we know that we've done it before. And if we pull levers too hard, bad things happen. And their economy is still not perfect, but they seem to, like, be very well working through it and allowing players to decide the value of items instead of these 2 or 3 people deciding what the value of items are. It's like, I don't know. I struggle with this a lot. No,
I understand completely. I would like, since the economy team came on, I think it's now like almost 2 years, right?
Yeah.
Because I think the economy team started like just after I joined the pod, I think. So now that they've been doing like all these monthly reports for like 2 years, please, I would love to see, and if there's still chance for you to put an extra battle up for sitcon, the online sitcon, please do this. I really want to see the economy team go through. This is what we expect, like, these 3 random imaginary players, their day-to-day interactions to be with the economy on like on a 1.0, and then, like, you can also do like a pie in the sky ideal far future. That's what I want to see, because I want to know what you guys want to do, and it's hard to visualize when so many things keep changing month to month at the moment.
Yeah, it's tough. I just that's what I want. I just want it out. As I just want them to continue to push to get something in our hands of whatever could be related to what would be a post 1.0 thing. Like, It won't be it, but can we get the like framework of it? And I think that's what we're trying to figure out what it is, right? And again, I think we're going very far away from a player-driven economy, which I'm a huge fan of. And if they go with this dynamic economy, I hope it's really fun. So
yeah.
Because if it's not,
also to just touch on like the economy team have done a lot of work with like current game. Yeah. All of the like money rebalancing and all that has been like presumably their main focus. Yeah. It's just like, cool, this has been dope. Now what do you see in the future?
Yeah. Could be.
Maybe that's what this is.
I don't want to speculate too much on it because it's hard. But the only thing I'd say is I just want to just get something in our hands that's tangible. And then we could discuss it in a lot more detail, right?
Yep. And the only other thing I'll touch on is in R&D, because I keep on touching on it every single month, is they continue to talk about dynamic weather.
Yeah, weather.
Sweet.
Which is, I think, the way that they want vehicles to be usable.
Yep. Sounds to be the case.
The only other thing I would touch on is up in missions is and narrative, actually. Wicklow stuff. They're going to take the components out of the ships. And they come, and I think like Foxy Loxy made a video where he actually went through the Wicklow stuff on like during the PTU, which I mean, that guy's a beast because that's a lot of work for a PTU it's just going to go away. And a ship came up and the components came up with it. So and then Odd Job Entertainment, who I think has called into the podcast before, also makes YouTube videos. When I had discussed this idea on my own react to this, he was like, hey, just so you know, like there are different levels of insurance, right? It's not just the insurance that we have now. One of them is you just get the whole back. So I think what they're trying to do is go, all right, like ships that you're earning in game, the stock components have to be shit. Because we can't give you a ship that you'll use that first level of insurance and not be punished by it in that way, right?
Yeah.
So I think that was pretty smart by him and pretty on point. And then narrative stuff, they're just still focusing on telling stories, the big locations. This is that sandbox activity most likely that we're teasing at. So it's like it's all kind of here in narrative because narrative is everything now of what we do. So I used to skip over narrative a lot.
Super impactful to like current game.
Correct. And now it's like not worth skipping over. But if you didn't catch me, Emmy came in, her parents are coming over. It is Mother's Day here in the US. I don't know if it is for you in Australia.
Yes. Well, it's Monday now, so no, but yes.
Oh, true. Like we all got together yesterday, but apparently we're getting together today too here. So I didn't know that was happening. So I'm going to hurry up and stop talking.
I think that there's, as always, there's a lot of stuff in the monthly report that we would have missed. Make sure you check it out because it is the biggest. It is always monthly, the biggest like info dump about what CRG are doing.
Yep.
We've gone very long so far because we still have to talk about ISC and other things too.
Patch Watch would be the next thing I would talk about after that.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's do Patch Watch then.
You want to do it first or ISC first?
Do Patch Watch first. We'll leave the video content to last.
Okay, cool. And then we'll just get to 3 callers, and that's it.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys, but
too much stuff. Blame CIG for giving us a bunch of information this week. All right.
Exactly. It really is
it's
on
their
CIG. Fault. Last minute, it's the info dump of all the things too.
Yeah.
Big one. We obviously know about this. The bags. New change to the bags that most people probably are not aware of. 2 SCU bags, which Niku posted here incorrectly. I sent him a message. He said he'll fix it on Monday. Is they said, all right, we know the bags are a little bit bigger than 2 SCU, and it's going to make it difficult to place on grids, but we have no immediate plans to adjust this. Not true. They did adjust it. So MISC bags do fit on 2 SCU grids. Argo bags do not. MISC bags are 8 SCU, which makes sense. An 8 SCU box is a 2 SCU grid shape. So this could be on purpose, or they could have just not gotten to the Argo bag yet. The MISC bag has not changed in any size. It just fits on the grid now and snaps to it, where the Argo bag does not. So it could be on purpose, could not be. And I told him to double check my work, but I have a video of it. Like, it's happened. It works. And other people
Yep.
confirmed it as well. Component ballast pass is interesting stuff. Lightweight for competition stuff is awesome because we all used to take all of our stuff off. Now there's a reason to keep it on, which you like. Industrial, again, is heavy, so the opposite. Like, even though it might be really fast, let's say for a power plant or a lot of power that you might need for a racing ship, it's too heavy to use for a racing ship. So they're starting to do like the trade offs and ons for components. Check this post out yourself, I would say, and take a look at it. But they still haven't really solved the stealth meta, in my opinion, yet. And and it's both just kind of, for the most part, it's like power plants and then shields are very different. So they showed the difference between the shields. So quicker reboots, shield regens, things like that are all probably post engineering. We'll see the true fruits of this labor. And then Wicklow, I finally saw a Junior Valacar Fang in my hand. Have you seen it yet?
Love it.
Have you seen it yet?
No, I have not. No.
The description is very disappointing for me.
Aw.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. It doesn't have crafting connotations.
It does, but for jewelry.
Aw. Yeah. Okay.
So it's not like player usable. So like
it still could be, right? If there's like tradable, like rare.
Yeah, but you're not getting like a +5 mana
materials,
ring, right? So
exactly. Like, you're not using it. Yeah. It'd just be a tradable.
So yeah, it's a little weird. I was like, oh, come on, really? But the like, because like Kopi and Horn was like, all right, this is how you like remake bones with this, and it's like, oh yeah, hell yeah, that's cool as hell. But no, and then Wicklow. Did you check out Wicklow's place?
No, I have not.
Okay, so there's 2 floors now. The bottom floor has just mostly everything you had before. Now there's 2 of those mechs, the same ones, instead of just one. And then it's all like the newer stuff that Wicklow is going to be working with is at the bottom floor, and all the stuff that you used to go for, like the first Volt weapon and the original armor sets. They're all upstairs. So just made 2 floors because he needs more stuff. This is amazing. Improved looting. Sorry, my dog's dreaming, and I was like, what the heck was that? The F prompt is actually easy to deal with, and you're not like accidentally picking stuff up anymore. I confirmed that this morning. I was in the CZs just to check it out. It's fantastic. So yes, no previously caused chaos as much anymore. No accidental pickups, which is fantastic. And then we know about the raft. So yeah, mostly
changes that we knew about in the last few weeks, but a couple of spicy ones.
A couple of sneaky ones. Like, I did not know that they fixed the interaction prompts, and that is like a quality of life or a bug or whatever that was like, since 4.0 came out, it has been absolute hell. So it took only until 4.1.
Not even since 4.0, since 3.2.3.
Whenever contested zones came in, that's when it really broke. But maybe I was just wanting to loot people more. I just recall it being just absolute hell the moment I was in contested zones. So just that being gone is fantastic. And and also the little misc thing. Like, we're actually considering for our mining ops to take Argo bags off moles and put the misc ones on now because of the grids.
Because of the stacking. That's fair, yeah. As well as like, because it's now a lot easier to offload and unload. Like, the extra capacity, if you're in a group and someone's grabbing the bags. Exactly, right? Because it just means you just have to be faster with taking the bags. So that's cool, actually.
Yeah. And then ISC, I guess we'll get to now. What stuck out for you in this? I thought it was mostly stuff that we knew.
Yeah, so it's the 4.1.1, like, hey, this is what's coming in the patch IRC that they always do with like major patches, but also like this is a semi-major patch. There's a lot coming in it, as well as a bunch of Invictus like teasers in it as well. So we saw some of the new ships that are coming with Invictus. And then mostly though they talked about the new missions that we've got with Gilly. There's the boy. I am genuinely surprised that it actually is
Asgard
a
or something.
Yeah, I think it's the Asgard, right? I am genuinely surprised that it is a Valkyrie like quote unquote variant because the hull's fairly different, but it's like a Valkyrie base. Because after last week, I was sure it was going to be smaller. So I'm very curious to see what this ends up being. The Valkyrie is one of my favorite ships in the game. Yeah.
This stuck out to me more than anything. Do you see it?
Well, yeah. So this is the Guardian, and I
It's
believe
the
it's the
new
Guardian
one.
MX.
Yeah.
With yeah, that's a new UI, right?
That's what stuck out. Look,
the
I
thing,
like
yeah.
those colors, man. They're sick. The yellow,
It's nice. It's very
the
nice.
blues, and the purples. They all go really well together. So yeah, but also 4 guns on a Guardian's going to be pretty wild too.
Yeah. So very keen on that because I also like the Guardian. Surprise, surprise. I've got the Mirai chair. I like Mirai.
Yeah. This is
yeah. So yeah,
now.
mostly. Yep.
This is in.
So mostly talking about Gilly, mostly talking about the missions. There was one thing that was like a little weird that they mentioned where it sounded like some of the Gilly introduction missions are only here for Invictus.
Yeah, the Invictus ones.
Which,
there's like 3.
Yeah, but I would still like them to stay because I do think that they're like pretty good for teaching brand new players just the very, very basics.
Yeah, I don't know what their like thing is, but these are not tutorials. It's like, okay, bro, like relax, but
it's like they are though.
They are though. Like,
yeah, they
hell?
are. They certainly present as tutorials, whether you want them to or not, right? Yeah. Yeah, that was sort of the thing. So it was a good ISE. It was good to get back to another actual proper ISE where it is all the devs talking about the work that they've done, in addition to showing off some cool new things. We've been in. They told us we'd be in a drought, but I didn't feel like the drought would be this aggressive.
No, it's pretty rough. But even this ISE was like decent. If you're not following too much, and then for me they showed Invictus, and this is like kind of the big thing around Invictus is they're doing it in a different way than they've ever done it before, and they're doing it in a more efficient way. Somebody finally was like, yo, we can't have 35 different rooms and have them switch and have to test 30 different rooms and make sure they don't bug out. It's just, yo, the new ships, they're going to be in the forefront. Side ships will be on the sides. And then if you want to rent anything, go to the rental terminal, and that's it. We'll swap the rental terminals. Much easier than swapping rooms. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Very smart. Great job. Love that change. That's awesome.
My big thing from this video and just more of the patches this week for Invictus is like, so they added Drake Day to the convention, like dates as they normally do, and they normally say, hey, this is Day's Defense Con, and there is no Defense
Con, right?
As far as we're aware, and they still have not shown anything Drake at all in the patches in Invictus, but they still have a day. What does it mean? I don't know what it means.
Do you think like it either means 2 things? It means nothing, or it means ironclad.
Everything. Yeah, it's literally all or nothing, and I am going to be disappointed either way because I don't really want the ironclad this early, but it would be cool. It would be dope to have in.
As long as
see if it's working as cargo.
As long as they understand cargo grids, then I'm fine.
Yeah,
with
exactly.
The thing.
Yeah.
But,
and yeah, that was ISE. I think we've mostly covered everything from the week now.
Yeah.
There was a lot. We've almost certainly missed something, but it really was a big week. A lot of information just coming from everywhere, which is good. But this is also why like weeks that we had like 2 weeks ago, where there was just nothing, feel a lot worse.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm super excited for this patch though. Like,
yes,
it's been a while since I've been excited to just jump into a patch, and again, I think it's because I'm just gonna play on an account that I don't have anything on, and because there's a lot, the whole MG script, council script, Hathor, contested zones. There's like all these opportunities to not play the way we've played for so many years, and still like make progress in the game. So I'm pretty hyped for this patch. Actually, I've left ISC up for 2 months.
It's gonna be a good time. I'm excited for it too. yeah, one thing I'm not excited for is having to log out naked. PSA.
Don't forget to do that. Yeah,
Um,
I almost forgot.
yeah, anything you have equipped on you is essentially confirmed you will lose it when the patch comes out. So yeah, go do that.
Get naked.
Um, I really can't wait until the day we don't have to do stuff like that, so we can keep our stuff. But that's probably a post 1.0 at this stage.
I don't know, man. The long-term persistence stuff has been. I mean, we're talking 4 or 5
Just
years
always
now.
bugs out.
It's really bad,
Yeah,
right?
it's just since they brought it in, it just always bugs out one way or the other, right?
Yeah. Someone in chat says any word on ships and components getting lost too. I mean, this is all the same system, so hopefully they're fixed, but we don't know. We won't know it until it doesn't work.
I think they said it should be fine, but then they've said that before. So
yeah,
exactly.
So it's hard to say.
Yeah, but we know for sure you will lose the stuff you've got equipped.
Exactly. So ready for callers? We have 4. I think we have time to get to all 4, and we'll leave it at that.
Yep.
No extra callers. So after Alex, we're done.
Sounds good. And if you want to call in to the show in the future, make sure you go into the description below if you're watching on YouTube. If you're on Mike's chat, you can go !Mike podcast, I believe. Follow the link, and you can go to the green room. But yeah, we're going to take 4 calls today.
Yeah. And Space, we're getting ready for you. He's muted and deafened, so I just want to make sure that he's there and can hear us. I'm bringing him in now. So our first caller will be SpaceMonkeyBusiness, but since his name is so long, it'll say Space Monkey up top. All right, so
Space Monkey, how are we doing?
Oh, I'm good. I thought wait, let me mute the stream. Hi, good.
Yeah. Hello.
Oh, to hurry up because there's not much time.
I got surprised today, so my fault, guys. I wasn't expecting that. I thought we did it all yesterday.
Always important. I don't know how you feel about the Invictus launch week, but for me, it's like a flavor show because when you look at the ships, it's not something particularly new. It's always like a variant of a ship, except the vehicle. But the vehicle is like
the most pointless thing. Okay. Like, did you notice we didn't mention it at all? It was the dumbest thing I've ever seen. So yeah, it's all these things that they're writing that you need, but there's literally nothing in the game informs you that you need any of that stuff. So it's all future bait.
Yeah, I don't know.
I will. Sorry, because you reminded me, and if I don't say it now, I'll forget again. One thing that was cool that we didn't mention was the Nova Tonk getting a secondary weapon. That you can change. So now we'll have a ballistic Gatling.
I didn't know that. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
So
nice.
That's also happening in Invictus, which is dope. I'm very excited to get an 890J out, get 3 Tonks to sit on the like
the
hangar platform
up top,
and do a battle Tonk. Yeah. Anyway, continue.
Yeah. For me, the first mentioning of the vehicle was like, okay, maybe it's like mobile tactical center. Sounds like, I don't know, operations tech with a bigger radar to spot bigger ships from far away. And I was like, oh, okay, maybe that's interesting. But it's a small vehicle. It's like, what is this? Nobody needs that. And specifically, since we don't have a scenario to use ground vehicles. I mean, Hathor, a lot of people used vehicles to get into the cave and defend the cave with like a tank and everything that fits in. So that was pretty cool. But besides that, I mean, there's no weather.
I feel like CRG have been allergic to the idea of putting in no-fly zones for missions. Like that feels like such an easy and interesting thing to do to make ground vehicles useful somehow. That they did for Siege of Orison. There was the no-fly zone. And guess what I did at Siege of Orison with all the tanks and stuff there? I used them. Even though you could like barely move them in between all the buildings and trees, I still used them, right?
Maybe you don't need a no-fly zone for that. Maybe you just like either have like a very military style base defended by very heavy turrets that will shoot everything down when you come close to it, or like having a planet, but that would be a thing we need to wait for, where I don't know, until electric interferences and some environment shit prevents you from flying, and you just can't use ground vehicles, something like that.
Yeah, the only reason I mentioned the no-fly zone is because they've done it before, and it feels like a very I mean, like sometimes, they have CRG get these random mechanics from some random events, and then they're like, "Oh, this would work well as a mission," and then they do it, and it feels like this would be a really. This feels in my head like a no-brainer. So they may have tried it, and there may be problems with it. Just feels like a no-brainer to make them be fun right now.
Mm.
I mean, I'm more hyped about these little stuff, like you mentioned, the different gun you get from the Nova, and I don't know. I think you don't mention there is a new turret for the a rocket missile turret for the Scorpius. So you can exchange the turret completely.
We're able to put bombs on ships now, apparently, as well. I haven't gotten a chance to check that out. That's something I missed.
Yeah.
Like there's going to be racks that you can put bombs on. We didn't touch on the flight.
Oh yeah.
Things have stats now as well. So hopefully some callers talk about this stuff.
And even the flight blades, that there's a page I've seen in a video where you can see the impact of the flight blades on the ships. I don't know. I don't do much PvP in ships, so I don't know how impactful the change is, but it looks interesting, and why not? I mean, if it's a preparation for the other stuff.
Yeah, anytime you're modifying ship characteristics in any way, it is not purely a PvP thing. There will be what ends up happening in those situations is you have a PvE build and a PvP build for those two very different types of encounters where you may use different flight blades. So well, hopefully it will matter, and you'll want to get into it,
Yeah, I could totally see a faster in a straight line ship being your PvE build, and your not faster in a straight line, like agile build being your PvP build, because you're going to be bouncing between bounties or something, and you know how you start from 30 kilometers away, you're going to want to fly in there faster or something.
Exactly.
Maybe depends on the ship, because I think I want to be faster with a Firebird, just getting in, fire the missiles, get out.
Very true.
Rather than fighting. So.
Yes, of course.
I mean, basically the same thing I said about the vehicles also counts for dropships. Like, what is the use of a dropship now? It's like, whatever.
Making fun machinima videos. Let's go.
RP. Although Hannah, while we were doing the initial Wicklow turn-in for the players, used the what's the Devarin one, the big one?
The Prowler.
The Prowler. Yeah, she was using that every day, so it got some use.
Oh, it's a cool ship. It's just it's just 20. It's like 20 seats for no reason.
Yeah, we used them though, but that was the one opportunity. But it was definitely a little RP as well. There's a little RPing going on there.
I'm glad that in two different spaces, because one's more Invictus, one's more the John Crew stuff, that they're admitting, hey. Obviously we have all the problems with light fighters and heavy fighters, but drop ships and ground vehicles, they're kind of nothing. We need to do stuff about it.
Yep.
What I'm a bit hyped about, because it's kudos to the games I played in the past. It's the beam stuff. This is the year of beam weapons, whatever that means.
Yep.
But having beam weapon, because I don't know if you played Free Space, the two games 1 and 2. It's a bit older games, story-based ship flight games. They're pretty decent and had great graphics for their times. And in the second game, there were a lot of capital ships, 8-kilometer long capital ship with beam weapons. And if you're in a fighter, just doing the mission besides those monstrosities, and they're firing beam weapons at each other. It is pretty cool, pretty dope. So I'm curious how they will end up in Citizen, how powerful they will be.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised as well if this is a response to how people have received the parallax weapons. Because those are our other than just using the mining beam laser on someone with your handheld. It's the first real beam gun that we've had, right?
And people love them. I mean, they're my favorites right now for sure.
Yeah.
And one last thing, I want to ask you how you feel. I mean, it's the first third of the year, so basically 4 months are over. I mean,
almost the first half. Yeah.
Yeah.
And for me, it feels pretty interesting, but also pretty weird, because from a content perspective, you got a lot of shit. You basically in the first 4 months, you got the same amount you get normally in the whole year.
Yeah.
Like
I think they started dropping the ball on the rewards. Like early on in the year, I was hyped to grind for these rewards. And then the Wicklow and Hathor stuff, because it was never going, and CZs, because that stuff's not going anywhere. I feel so less like motivated to do it, where the other events, I was like, I'm going to go in, I'm grinding all 3 accounts, I'm getting every item. And then I just stopped caring because
so what
they
you're
became
saying,
less
Mike,
and less valuable to me.
So what you're saying is we need more FOMO events.
Yes, like the Ardor repeaters are amazing.
Yeah. I agree. I think FOMO events can do a lot of really good stuff as long as they're not ridiculous. And as long as they're not like extremely OP. And I think well, I'm hoping we'll get back to that, because we're still right now just in the Wicklow stage.
Yeah.
Like the Wicklow Hathor until after Invictus.
Yeah, get that right. I'm cool with waiting for it, but it's why I'm less engaged with the events now. Like they haven't told us what the Polaris event reward is. I'm sure people know what it is already.
Someone got it in PTU. It's a chair.
But I thought
a captain's chair, I think.
But PTU is isn't it just placeholder, or is that the actual one now?
I guess it could be placeholder, but I think it specifically said like Polaris captain chair or something.
Oh shit! Okay.
Yeah.
So is it like a thing you put in your hangar or something you can equip?
Yeah, it's probably for your base or your hangar. Yeah.
Okay. It would be cool if you could put it in your Polaris. It's like, but it would be only exclusive.
I mean, you could. As long as the doors are big enough, you could.
Yeah. Okay.
No, I mean like a component that you attach via your Mobi-Glass.
Yeah.
Like you have a fancier captain chair.
Yeah. That would be great.
Hey, we always talk about how is CIG going to monetize? Like, how would we want CIG to monetize if not to sell ships? Sell some luxury chairs.
Hell yeah, man.
Maybe maybe make it available for all other RSI ships to put the Polaris captain chair in it if it fits. I don't know.
It'd be kind of funny. You chuck it in your Aurora. You're just in a Polaris captain chair.
Yeah. I mean, what I only hope for, and this is my last sentence, is since we got a lot of content, but we did not get a lot of video updates, I would be intrigued to know how the state of we are fixing, like Phil said earlier. So thanks to Phil.
Thank you
fixing
again,
the underlying systems of the game, how far along that is, what the actual issues is, what are the next steps, because you don't feel underlying systems. Like I don't really feel when something like this is fixed, except maybe when the performance goes up. But it would be cool to know, and maybe do like an ISC about it. Maybe invite Benoit or the others and just ask them some question how the current state is and what are the next steps for the next, I don't know, 4 or 5 months are.
Yeah,
for sure.
All right, that's it.
All right, Space.
Awesome.
Thank you for calling as always, man.
Hope you have a good time, and wish you a good weekend or rest of the weekend.
You too.
Yeah, catch you, man.
All right, bye now.
Bye.
All right, our next caller is Sharxbyte. Shark, what up, dude?
Are we doing Sharks? We there, Sharks?
How's it going, guys? Sorry, I was.
There we are.
The usual, you gotta mute it. We get it. You're good. What's up, man?
So, first of all, Mike, sorry I cheated for you this morning. You can pretend that you looted that for me by killing me.
Dude, I was on PTO. I didn't care. I was doing just like a 0 to hero thing, and he's just right in front of me with a backpack with everything that I needed in it. And I was just like, wait, that's not what I'm trying to do, man.
As far as backpacks, honestly, I think that they should make them lootable. I guess kind of my thought was, I know we all have our aesthetic backpacks or whatever, not all of us, but from subs and stuff, but like make it so when you loot a heavy backpack, you get some random heavy backpack. When you loot a light backpack, you get a light backpack. That way that like you're not stuck in a situation where you kill a person and you're like, well, like it's a player, so I can't use their backpack. But
yeah, because if you kill an NPC, you can, and it's just like, what? Like that whole thing is kind of confusing and weird.
Yeah.
I will say I don't hate the idea of like if you didn't come prepared with a heavy backpack, you know, like I if I have to think beforehand, I want to make sure I can loot everything possible, so I've got to like use the heavy backpack that I've got. I think that's fine.
Well, ready for the example that
making that decision beforehand.
The reason we're having this conversation is I went on my alt account, first thing I was like, well, maybe I'll start in Pyro CZs to get a ship. And there's no enemies with backpacks in like the initial areas. And there's none in Ruin at all. So it was like, oh, well, I have to participate within the like NPC station economy then and buy a backpack if I wanted that to work. So for me, my start then more has to be Hathor than CZs because there's enemies with backpacks there, right? So, but yeah, that's
all right. Interesting. Fair enough.
Yep. I already bought a luxury chair for real money. I upgraded my 315p years ago. You know, with the customizable interface thing. But yeah.
Yep.
Let's see. I had something. Oh, as far as contested zones, I still haven't done any of them in live. Like I did some of it in PTU back when they happened. I'm waiting until we have a patch where people aren't saying I lost all my stuff. Because I'm
damn, you're not gonna do CZs for 26 years. That's rough.
I know. Hey, my partner's not gonna play Star Citizen until all the bugs are gone. So,
I'm actually in a similar spot. My wife is a big sci-fi nerd, and she has expressed like interest in the game itself, but she will not abide by the bugs. Not remotely.
Yeah, no.
She's played with us a few times where it's been she doesn't have to do anything. Like she was the captain of our Polaris, so all she has to do is walk around, and that was like the extent of what she could do without encountering bugs.
Yeah,
I
would just bring it up the like they had mentioned that they had fixed door glitching in a patch note. I did it today.
Yep.
So it's not.
Oh. Yeah.
So CZs are just going to be as bad as they were. So if you don't want to do CZs because people are exploiting, they will still be exploiting. Just to keep that in mind.
Yeah.
I have my partner every so often whenever they update the new player experience run through it because they are like a console Switch gamer. They don't play PC games with WASD and mouse and keyboard and stuff. And so if they can get all the way up to the station and complete the mission, it's probably a decent tutorial. If they can't, then it needs some work. So I'm going to have them run through with the new ones, the fighter missions and stuff.
All right.
With the inventory stuff, and I think you said grid stuff that they had fixed, I noticed that removing components with the tractor beams is a lot cleaner now.
Oh, nice.
Putting components on and off.
Hell yeah.
Well, that was mentioned in I want to say the monthly report. That it was I think it was the monthly report. It might have been somewhere else, but it was like the orientation matters less now, or it should matter less now. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I made a thread on turrets the day before they announced the changes to the turrets getting slightly more ammunition.
So it's your fault.
They still need to change the range of motion on a lot of the turrets. Like basically anything, I think Mike was saying this, anything with a side turret is basically useless when someone can just fly to the other side, safe spot you, and it takes longer for you to run to the other turret and change than it does for them to fly back to the side you were on.
Yep, 100%.
I can post that link in the Twitch chat if people want to go brigade the Spectrum thread.
This is no shame whatsoever.
That example you used, Sharxbyte, is perfect for understanding how Star Citizens actually play the game. Because ideally, there would be someone in both turrets.
Yeah,
right.
Except you're better off economy-wise putting someone in even a snub fighter than you are putting someone in the side turret.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
100%.
And then I guess the last thing is still making faces for people. If you want to check under Answer the Call Media, I just put John Wick with the new hairstyle that actually looks like him. So
badass. Nice. Yeah. Before you go, Sharks, somebody in Twitch chat earlier posted at the Invictus event that there is a Vandal voice in the walls somewhere, and somebody recorded it and posted it on Spectrum. So
really?
You're big into the alien stuff. So I thought you might. I waited. Yeah. I didn't say it until you got here because I thought you might bring it up. But yeah, somebody just posted it.
Yeah, no, I haven't even been on, like I got onto PTU for the first time Yeah, I just made a couple videos kind of recruiting for Vanduul during Invictus. I put one of them under the React. It's way too long. My partner said 3 minutes is too long for short form. So I cut it down into a couple shorts as well. But
nice. And then Knox in Twitch chat posted it there. Croncy, if you want to take that link and post it in the YouTube chat so they can have it.
Yep.
That's the one with the Vandal. Yeah, that's the one with the Vandals in the wall. But cool.
Check that out later.
Yeah. So
cool.
All right, Sharks. See you later. Bye now.
Thank you, guys.
I was so confused there.
I knew I
me
knew
a
it was
second.
coming. At first I thought it was broken as well, but it very quickly was like, oh yeah, he's Vandal.
Like, what the hell happened to your microphone?
All right, we got I believe a new caller, first time. Citizen Dance?
Possibly. Citizen
you hear us?
Dance. You are muted at the moment.
Yeah, we might have a muter.
There we go.
Oh, we got
I'm
it.
here. Yeah,
Have you
long time
called
listener, first time caller. Great,
First
great
time.
to be here.
All right,
yeah.
cool. I thought so.
Welcome in.
Holy,
Hey, thanks.
your mic is better than ours, so that's awesome.
Oh, well,
That's not normal
fantastic.
for the show.
Yeah, well, I don't have a mic stand, so I'm currently like sitting here holding it close to my mouth. So
Perfect.
always good.
That's,
Yeah,
most of them
first
are
and
like sitting
foremost-
back in their chair, I think, not nowhere near their mic, which is why yours sounds so good.
Welcome to Answer the Call.
Yeah.
Guys, it's great to be here.
Yep, exactly. And I'm like turning it up, and then they walk closer to it, and I'm turning them down mid show. Oh, it's awful. So
Yeah, love that.
But enough of our terrible fans.
Yeah.
Citizen Dance. Yeah, what do you want to talk about?
Yeah, first and foremost, love the jacket, Croncy. Posted
Thank
mine
you.
in the general chat. On
I was
Answer the Call.
wondering who that was. That looks
Yeah.
sick as hell. It looks
Oh,
dope.
thank you. It is my most expensive jacket I have ever had because all of those are embroidered, and embroidery is
Oh, yeah.
expensive.
Yo, that's actually cool as hell. Hell yeah.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. So
Oh,
also
I gotta
have
look
a
on
few
my
shirts
phone.
and
So I can't.
Yeah, it's in
the stream.
general.
Okay.
yeah, have a few shirts. I'm going to the Quantum Vegas, and unfortunately in
Nice.
July it's probably going to be too hot for the jacket. So got more cooking. But
Yep.
yeah, if we could get like an IRL fit check like we did with Armors a few weeks ago, that'd be sick.
Yeah, show off your Star Citizen fits.
Yeah. Okay, so back to the actual reason for the call. Going to components and having them locked behind events has really pissed me off. I'm not a big fan of that.
To be clear, the only components that have been stuck behind events specifically are the
Ardor?
laser repeaters.
And
Yeah.
and I guess the multi-tool gun as well.
Yeah, let me
Not a
rephrase
component,
that.
obviously, but
Yeah, let me rephrase that. So there should be no reason that the guys in Pyro CZs have military grade stealth components. Like
All right,
none.
I've fought this multiple times
I
on
know.
Answer the Call.
why?
Yeah, I
why
like,
not?
Yeah, they like you don't. Okay, first off, military. If you want it because of a law reason, because that is what's usually brought up. Is like, why do
I
these
get
guys
it. I
have
get
all
it.
these
Military grade.
components?
Understood.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you want it for a law reason, military grade components are illegal to trade. So who's going to trade them? The people on the black market. Those will be the pirates that are exist in these locations. That is a perfectly reasonable law reason for that to happen. More importantly, it's a gameplay reason. Yeah.
Croncy's coming for you, brother.
That's the real reason. Well, it's
Yeah,
just
no.
look. I've had this prepared because we've said it like 12 times, a couple of times on the pod, because it's an issue that people have brought up multiple times.
Yeah.
And they have the issue. That's reasonable. But I think it shouldn't be true. I think it is completely fine for it to exist.
Yeah, no, and I understand like they need rewards for people to go out and do these things to test, and they're like those are kind of the best rewards that we can do right now. So I completely understand the reason, but I fully believe that these things should be locked behind rep, like y'all were talking about earlier. Like if you're a miner and you want the great mining stuff, go do the Hathor stuff and trade some Karenite for it.
Would you be less? Would you be less like? Would it be less of a problem if it was a military grade component, but it was more like the Ardor repeater, or more like the I forget the name of the gun that is like a multi-tool, where it's like this pirate modified thing that it was a military grade component, but then they did something crazy with it, and it's better at one thing but has a negative to it as well.
Yes, I think that would be great.
Because
like
it's more lore for you, right? Is it more lore?
Chef's kiss. It is.
Okay.
It is. But I mean, Croncy has nailed that one on the head. So
Yeah. But then you can kind of kill Croncy's idea a little bit with like if it was a dedicated special headhunters version of that headhunters tweaked, then that kills the whole, it makes it make more sense, I think.
You get a power plant, and if you boost too much on your ship, your power plant may explode.
Yeah.
And leave you soft death somewhere in the middle of space.
That would be the Frontier Fighters one for sure.
Yeah. But even anyway, with regards to this conversation, we talked about today about how I've forgotten his name. The big dev guy mentioned that they do want grade A components. John Crew, thank you. They do want grade A components to be available through other means, like through PvE means. So it'll still happen. That it won't be locked behind that necessarily. And then, just refer back to our comments of like the hope is it's there's a trade-off there, and it's not just everyone can do it by the same amount of effort type thing.
I think I mean we can definitely see it coming. Mercenary Guild script, Council script, like they're already mentioning other mission givers that are going to deal with these things. Like your grade A components are coming that way. I have absolutely no issue with that. With the current items that we have in game being shifted around away from CZs, but something needs to replace them in the CZs that makes sense. And I don't know what those are because I don't think they exist yet, but damn, man, I feel like they just like murdered CZs and it sucks.
Yeah,
I'm sad.
And y'all are spitting sense. I understand, and everyone should understand that the game's in alpha, and not everything that is currently what it is going. It will change, and you just got to be patient and go to the next patch, and it will be fine. Woosah,
Yeah.
So, all right. I think CIG.
I'll just also quickly touch on one more thing, which is I do still want I think rep locked items of some variety are great in general.
Absolutely,
it's a thing to strive for. Cool. Also do that.
Yeah. So along with the kind of desert that we've been living in for the first few months, and now they're starting to pick up speed. CIG starting to pick up speed with these patches, and I'm getting excited, which hasn't happened since 4.0 dropped. And I think they're picking up the momentum, and we're going to see a bell curve of just all the cool shit that we've been waiting for a long time. Like someone in chat posted they have 1,200 devs who aren't doing anything. I disagree completely. I think like there's no silver bullet patch, but we're going to start seeing more cool shit every single patch. I think it's just going to ramp up from here. So I'm very hopeful for that. Now, on the flip side of that, CIG has to work on its messaging. The federal government of the United States has a job for all the 3-letter agencies where their only job is to go to these people and understand what they're doing. So in the FBI, the CIA, NSA, whatever, there is a person who goes to those places and makes sure that something that the CIA is working on isn't interfering with the FBI, and CIG needs that.
In what way? I'm confused.
So the easiest way I can say that is when John Crew flubbed the Galaxy module, base building module, and I understand that they may not have planned for it, or they may have just put it in there on the PowerPoint for a placeholder.
Yeah, I think I get what you're saying.
Yeah. So they need someone in every meeting, and their entire job is to make sure marketing is talking to the shipbuilders who are talking to gameplay, and it's their responsibility to go through the monthly report and be like, this isn't necessarily true. Maybe we should reword this.
So I guarantee you that does exist, but it is once again a 1,200 person company.
Sure.
Things are 100% going to slip through the cracks, and if you go more aggressive, the big problem with the exact type of role that you just described slows down the project a lot.
Yeah.
And so there is a limit to it. I don't know, what would be a recent example? Because you brought up the Galaxy. That was what, start of last year?
Yeah. So I wrote it down after I hadn't planned on bringing this one up. But something we said earlier on in the podcast, I can't remember it right now. It was probably when we were reading through the monthly report. Yeah, I'll have to throw it in chat if I think about it again.
Oh, good. I just say like that role exists in every large company. And if you go too aggressive, then the project slows down even further.
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
sorry,
so
like
I-
communication should be going
worse.
through the community teams, and the community teams don't do that because you have this. It's never going to work. It's never going to work in Star Citizen because the way they're doing it. You have Jared who works for the marketing team, the community team who works for the marketing team, but they don't work together and do their own things together. They're doing each things individually. It's been like this for years. I've talked with countless people about how stupid that is, and they'll throw a dev in front of the camera, and that dev is going to say whatever they say in that moment because they're not trained to be doing these things, and we're just going to keep dealing with this stuff.
Which, speaking of, I really appreciated during the ISE. I don't remember which dev it was, but they were
the
talking
bug.
about the missions, and they were like,
Yeah.
and one of the missions is a nothing mission, and nothing happens. And I have to say that because otherwise people will think it's a bug.
This guy.
That's so funny.
It was this guy. Hold on. I had a Stilla on him for a second. Where'd he go? There he is. It was him. He was like, I gotta tell you it's a bug. And it was funny. I like that guy.
Yeah.
He was like, so there's a kill quest. And I don't need to say any more about that as well. He was like, it's just a kill quest.
Kill the thing.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
Down to the point.
Yeah. So I and I think the person who should do that is the chief operations officer, which CIG was looking for about 6 months ago. I got onto their website and what jobs are available? And I nearly applied for that motherfucker and then decided I did not want to work for CIG, even though I'm sure it's a great place to work. Oh man, I can't even imagine just how many times, like in the intro to working for CIG, is like, hey man, you're gonna get a lot of backlash for whatever you do. You're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't, and you're damned if nothing. So just enjoy that. And I wouldn't want to do that. All the props for the CIG people who go through day in and day out of toxic fans and people taking their something they said out of context. Like, all the best to them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think the internal communication is a little less something that we should be concerned with until it impacts, like in those moments where it like directly impacts us, right? Which,
Sure.
The Galaxy situation was one of them. But the less of those we get, sure, the better.
Yeah.
We'll probably cut you off there. You've been
thank you for
12 minutes,
having us on.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
of
no, we
course.
appreciate the call a lot.
And sweet jacket.
And, hope to hear from you soon.
Thank
Yes, very, very dope jacket.
Yeah, man. All right, catch you, Citizen.
you. See ya.
All right, bye now. All right, and our final caller for the day is a very simple name. It's Alex. Alex, can you hear us? You're currently
Alex, how
muted.
you doing?
We might be Alex might be a no-go. We'll see.
Alex.
Usually the ones that are waiting there
Whoop.
at the end.
Hello?
Hello. We hear you. We
Here
hear
we
you.
are. Hello. How are we doing, Alex?
Okay, I got some stream delay, but it's fine.
All good.
Just,
Make sure
just
you
turn
mute.
turn off stream.
Make sure you
just
mute the
listen to this
volume
one.
on the stream, and then you'll only hear us here.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool.
So I'm a long-time listener, first-time chatter. I'm like
Badass.
Chinese international student in Canada. I'm just graduating.
Nice.
Lovely.
I don't want to dox you, but I love hockey, so I want to ask you where in Canada. So give like the province, not the city.
I mean, I'm currently in Ottawa.
Ottawa. Okay, cool. That
Okay.
is the city, but that's
Yeah.
cool. That's awesome.
Since I'm Chinese, I'm most familiar with Chinese communities.
Perfect.
And
Are you going to give us some
like
insight and everything?
maybe if you want to talk about like Beijing bar citizen.
Maybe a little
Like,
bit.
Whatever you want to talk about.
I want to talk about what you want to talk about. Yeah.
Okay.
That's what this part is for. It's for you, not for
Okay,
me.
I have a whole list of things in the text file I can do.
Yep.
Okay. So first off, a bit disappointing with all the news lately. But I have very low expectations, so I'm good.
Okay.
And
Classic.
so like Zeus MR got delayed. I'm really looking forward to that ship. It's like, in my opinion, maybe the best solo like daily drivers. But well,
Which one is
they're
that? What's that
it's
Zeus supposed
the
to have?
The
it's
bounty
a
hunter one, right?
bounty hunter one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the one with the
Um,
QED?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So I'm guessing they're making like ship release, waiting for the feature, which is I think is a good direction. But still,
Yeah.
it's kind of disappointing. But
Yeah,
anyways.
sucks in the short term for sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
Is there a specific
and
feature
also,
that ship needs that it's waiting for?
Bounty
Bounty
Hunter
Hunter
V2 would be
2.0.
the assume, right? Yeah.
Bounty Hunter V2. Okay, understood. Because I was like, QEDs work, but yeah, no Okay. Fair.
Yeah.
Which, well, that's the thing. QEDs probably with, like, they talked in the monthly report, about
Are going to
quantum again.
change.
They haven't
Yeah.
talked about it for a while. So I imagine, yeah, QEDs will change for some value.
Yeah.
And well, Perseus got upgraded to size 8 as as what we heard. I think that's good. But also it's using Polaris assets for interiors. I think is kind of bad.
You want it to look different?
I want to look like Zeus. It's Zeus is way better than Polaris in my opinion.
Yeah, but there's like the military RSI, and then I like the Zeus too. So yeah, I understand where you're coming from.
I mean, it could be good. Depends, because like Perseus is way smaller, and it doesn't have those like huge hallways as Polaris. Maybe that's a plus.
I love the Polaris.
I think the whole like vibe
being different.
The whole vibe of like the large internals of the Polaris. It's it's to bring your you need to be sort of in the headspace of like, oh yeah, the Star Trek starships and like the big Star Wars capitals and stuff. It's to give that vibe, even though it makes no sense that they would have giant hallways that large.
Yeah, I think it would be instantly better if the lighting is a bit bright and a bit warmer, just a little bit. It would be instantly better. But anyways, also, John Crew mentioned like 0 progress for 600i rework. I'm very disappointed in that.
I knew it. I called it years ago when they showed a sneak peek of it right before they wanted to sell it. Like, they do this stuff all the time, and I get criticized for like calling them out on it all the time. But there's like countless examples of these little baity things they do to get you to spend money on things that they're not going to work on. They do it all the time. Like, it's crazy. Half the ships that John Crew probably mentioned are literally just to bait you to buy them. I'm guessing, obviously, but it's like just to get you to buy them during Invictus, and then they're not going to work on them. It's just like it's rough, man, because people spend money on this stuff. It's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Also, it's a big problem when you have things like the 600i, things like the larger capital ships, because they take so long to develop. We've seen priorities change in CIG within 6 months, and so it's like, hey, you know how you were working on that ship? Nah, priorities have changed. We're now focusing on this for like this whatever release. But that's going to keep happening until they stick to a thing.
And to be fair to them, about a year ago, we're going to work on the Polaris, then we're going to go to the Perseus, then we're going to go to the Galaxy.
And so far, that's what's been happening.
So kudos to them for that, right? That's a good thing. Even though it may not be the ships that you want, they aren't the ones I want, but they are sticking to their guns.
Something to hope for.
And that's good, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And I'm guessing, do you guys think the Apollo drones will come with the ship release?
No.
Well, I figured.
I would love that too, but no.
Yeah, drones are a big beast for multiple reasons. One, obviously there'll be like a big tech thing, I imagine, for it, but also like, how do you balance drones in a game like Star Citizen? Right? How do you get this stuff to work with our gameplay? It's the exact problem we had with cargo for 4 years of them changing how cargo worked. Before they finally realized they got it like okay, right? They got it like sort of right.
Yeah. With the current cargo thing, I hope they release like some ship with cargo drones. just to carry cargo. That would be great. I don't want to do it manually.
Yep.
I just want drone to carry it for me.
Or just more NPCs to interact with to pay to do it, right?
No, NPC is too much. You're asking too much.
I know, but
They're true,
they're
Mike.
the
What are you
same
doing?
thing. It's the same thing.
Yeah, theoretically, they could be the same.
Theoretically.
They're
Yeah.
both just NPC. A drone is an NPC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To be fair, yeah.
So,
Also, Junkru mentioned Kraken pre-production end of this year.
yeah,
I think
forgot
that
about
means I think that means Ironclad is very far down the line already, and I think that's good.
Okay.
And
Yeah. Am I losing my mind, or did they say last year that the Kraken would be in production this year?
they show it on
Did they show it in the
image,
silhouette?
they
Yeah.
show it on
Yeah.
this.
That's what I thought.
Wait,
did
Kraken is
not?
not a silhouette. It's the Pioneer.
Yeah.
It's the Pioneer is a big.
That's
big
right.
one.
Yeah.
They showed it at the Nick's demo, but that was about it. And
That's
maybe
true,
he
yeah.
said something during that. I can't remember, but
I have a feeling of it, but I might just be mistaken because the silhouette of the Pioneer and the Kraken look similar-ish.
Well,
But yeah, I had thought that wasn't news, but like reasonable, right? They've talked once again about like having teams focus on like one manufacturer for a little bit. So
yeah.
you do the Ironclad, then you do the Kraken.
Yeah.
Right. There's going to be a lot of crossover with design space there.
Yeah. And Alex, like
Yeah.
about 2 minutes left, so maybe like one more thing from your list.
Okay. Okay. Talk about Beijing Bar Citizen then. I did
Ooh,
some
that's 10
research.
minutes.
It's a 169 yuan, and that's like to 3,000 yuan for the tickets. So they actually got a ticket you have to pay.
Yeah.
That's like converted to 23 to 414 US dollars.
Ooh, okay. Because they're
So,
putting on a big
wow,
show,
that is
right?
expensive.
Yeah, that's a huge range as well, and I think it's fair as long as they release the video like soonish.
Yeah.
Because I mean they paid, but
on Monday, yeah, but they didn't pay CIG, right? Like,
yeah, they'd be paying the organizers, not CIG.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
So it's like
yeah.
put it out on Monday. All right, like it was a weekend.
So instead,
thing.
I'll say,
it out on
I'll say, I really hope that the people who put it on made it worth the price because that is expensive.
Yeah, dude,
And they did have a launch opportunity with Junkru. I think that's worth it. So, yeah, they asked. I think it's them. They asked the questions for the Perseus, the gun upsides, and all that.
Yeah, I mean they got
That's what I heard.
they got more information out of CIG than anybody has the entire year than Jared has. So
yeah, they interrogate like Junkru. That's great.
Jared jealous he didn't go to the Beijing Bar Citizen.
Yeah, he was. He was like, "Please, I want to go." That's what he said in the video. He's like, "You never invite me to Asia. What the hell?" So
yeah. Okay. Final touch on the economy. I think I agree with Mike on the like player-driven economy is better than planned.
Eve.
I mean, I didn't play Eve because that's a subscription game. I think it's like hard to keep track of once you like keep.
It can
paying.
be free play, but yeah, you do lose like a lot of the game if you.
Yeah.
It's the free is like try Eve, but when you're actually playing it, you have to pay, or get the stuff in for in-game credits.
Yeah, and I think planned economy will be like harder to balance compared to like player-driven.
We will exploit our faces off.
Yeah.
Player-driven economies, the exploits fix themselves.
Yeah, MMO is like min-maxing online, basically.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yep.
And like
the
planned economy is very,
and it will fix itself because we will min-max it and fix it.
Yeah.
You'll just keep
and
undercutting
economy is
people.
like very easy to fail. I'm thinking about like Soviet Union because they did plan economy and they failed.
Well, yeah, maybe they'll look at history and decide to go player driven. Wow.
Bring communism to Star Citizen, guys. Let's go.
I mean, that's sort of in a way what the dynamic Tony Z version is, right? Is like we will control all of it. and
Yeah.
you
I
will
like
be happy.
I like the description that there's this guy called like Economics Explained who does some really really good videos on Eve's
I
economy.
watched one. Yeah.
Yeah, he calls it severe hyper-capitalism because in regular capitalism you can't go around murdering CEOs. That's kind of what I want in Star Citizen. I will say I don't want Eve economy. I want Eve-ish economy because I don't think it works to the full extent that Eve does. But I want it to be complex enough that the interactions that you do have kind of do what Mike said, where it's like, hey, there is an exploit in the economy in this thing, but because of that, all of these other things are affected, meaning this now, like this mining now changes and people are making more money from this, and like this crafting now changes, whatever.
Like Eve had their CitizenCon last week, and the devs
Yeah.
stood up in front of the stage and said, we're going to allow players or corporations to create their own missions because we know that you could do it better than we can. And that level of like understanding and going and just understanding their value and and putting their egos away versus everything you see Star Citizen devs do, where it's like, we will control everything and all this is that's the difference between the two studios. And there's a reason why I've been drawn to one more than the other lately, is because the Eve devs are they're pretty based. They're pretty awesome as far as that stuff is they understand that stuff because they've been doing it for 20 years, where Star Citizen's been unfortunately been developing a pledge store for 20 years, and that's basically what it's been, right?
Yeah.
So,
and also like I think player driven is way more sandboxy than plan.
Oh, for sure.
100%.
Yeah, 100%.
Of course.
Yeah.
But that's where I have to leave it, guys, because the family's going to be here any minute now. We got to get this up on YouTube. So, Alex, I appreciate your call. Call in again soon, and we'll get to more stuff on your list, man. For real. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah,
so
we appreciate
I'm glad
it.
you called.
I go like it's already 70% of the list. I think it's fine.
Yeah, all right, perfect. So we did pretty good. We got it like a C+. If it was a grade.
It's already like S tier. Don't worry.
All right. Alex, thank you so much.
Thanks
man.
for calling in. We'll catch you later, mate.
Yeah, take it easy, dude.
Yeah, see you.
Bye now. All right, that was Answer the Call for this week. It was pretty fun. We got through it. It was we did skip some things, guys. Because it was such a crazy week. But yeah, so
and
it'll be dead next week, I would imagine. Because we'll release the patch.
The patch will be released and Invictus begins next week.
Yeah.
So Jared also said at the end of the IC, I believe that we will get a video each week of Invictus.
Yeah, 2 more video, 2 more ship sale videos, essentially.
Yeah. So we're going to have a couple of weeks of ships. What I am hoping we don't talk about next week is the first time that we have an IE or an Invictus with 600 people and it goes to absolute shit. I'm really, really hoping that all the testing that they've been doing has been successful because this was the earliest we got a PTU for an Invictus or an IE.
Stress test, people actually stress test.
Yeah.
So they got the data that they need to hopefully make this happen. So that'll be pretty sick.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess that's where we'll leave it. So do the whole thing, like, subscribe, all that stuff. Check out me and Croncy on Twitch if you guys haven't yet. And yeah, thank you for watching Answer the Call. We appreciate it. And don't forget
to buy some Invictus ships.
The most important thing.